Several years ago, I was at a psychotherapy network conference, and the keynote speaker, Dr. Pat Love, asked the audience, "What is the biggest threat to marriage today?" Popcorn answers, right? And then she did this. She held up her phone. This right here can be the biggest threat to your marriage, and not necessarily because of the reason you think. I'm Lesli, Dory's your marriage coach, and what I want to share with you is a very common occurrence today, and that is communicating through your phone, using text messages, not just to tell your partner, "Hey, can you stop by the grocery store on the way home and pick up something for dinner?" Or, "Hey, I'm caught in traffic, I'm going to be late." Now, had the technology existed early on in my marriage, that would have been great, because there was one night that I was very late coming home from grad school, and my husband, it was an hour and a half drive. I was out late. I tried to call him. I stopped at every phone booth, for those of us who are old enough to remember what phone booths are, and called him. And I couldn't leave a message. I left a message on our home phone, but he wasn't home. I couldn't leave a message at his office. We didn't have any way of communicating. Several years later, we lived in Eastern Washington, and he went out to run an errand, and it started to snow, and he wasn't home, and I've actually called the state patrol on him twice because of that. But if he'd had a phone, he could have let me know. Using your phone for that reason is not problematic. The problem comes in when all of your deeper conversations are being had through text message. It is a really, really, really bad way to communicate. And those of you who've grown up with phones, that's your main form of communication. And there is an appeal to, when you have to have a difficult or a conversation about a difficult topic with your spouse, it can be more comfortable to do it when they aren't sitting across the table from you or next to you on the couch. But what happens when you use your phone for all kinds of communication is you only receive your partner's words, your partner only receives yours. There is no facial expression, body language. Even if you use emojis, it still leaves way too much room for miscommunication, misunderstanding. And I see the appeal. I really, really do. If you guys have difficulty talking to each other in person, there is a sense of comfort that, well, at least we're having the conversation. Except you're not really. What you're doing is having dueling monologues. You are not actually talking and interacting with your partner. And since one of the two major things that my clients come to me with is poor communication, what this tells me is people have not learned how to talk to each other, how to sit with each other when the other person might be struggling with a hard emotion, or when you're trying to resolve a really difficult issue, right? But here's the deal. If you really want a successful relationship, if you really want to have real connection and intimacy with your partner, you got to put the phone down. Now, the phone can be distracting in a lot of ways. I was reading a blog post by somebody who was talking about that she was in one room on her phone, scrolling through whatever. He was in another room playing video games on his phone. They were not interacting with each other, and the only time they talked, or the only way they talked, was through text messaging. Big surprise, their marriage didn't survive because they weren't connecting with each other. And I get it, right? You think that communication is fairly simple. One person opens their mouth, the other person opens their ears, and vice versa. It doesn't work that way, right? When emotions get involved, when hard things come up, it's really easy to want to pull away and do things the easy way, not have to actually be present for those difficult conversations. But I'm going to tell you that being seen and heard and acknowledged, validated, that is where intimacy starts. So if you're struggling with communication, maybe you might even be struggling with intimacy in your relationship. Your marriage is begging you, please put down the phone and make time to talk with each other. And if you want some help with that, I invite you to get in touch with me, because this is one of the things I do. I teach my clients how to be able to have these difficult conversations without arguments, without the silent treatment, reaching real agreement so nobody is agreeing to something they don't agree to, where resentment builds up, right? Good communication is the foundation for a good relationship. I don't care who it's with, but it's absolutely essential if you want to have a healthy marriage. So hopefully you found this interesting. If you want some help, please get in touch with me. If you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel. And until next week, stay loving.